Good morning, Greyhounds, and welcome to this edition of Leader of the Pack. My name is JD Arlen alongside Ethan Noel to bring you the very best of Carmel sports. Ethan, let's get it started. This episode, we'll be talking about the end of football season.
The football season ended in heartbreak with a 16-10 loss in Mishawaka against the Penn Kingsmen in the IHSA semi-state contest, marking the end to some stellar Greyhound careers such as Michael Victrup, Noah Burks, and Alex Akins. But JD, let's take a closer look into an athlete's career that did not end.
Ethan Merriweather is continuing his varsity career and his career with Carmel basketball. This season, Ethan Merriweather is starting at the guard position and looks to continue his stellar defensive play, as well as his shooting average from the free throw line.
Leader of the Pack's Ryan Cole got the chance to go behind the scenes with one of the most diverse athletes at CHS.
Ethan Merriweather is one of the most talented athletes that Carmel has. He was a starting wide receiver for the Greyhounds this past year, but he also played significant minutes for the basketball team as a guard.
Competitive. He's a very competitive person, likes to win at everything, which is a good quality to have.
What separates Ethan is his skills in two sports, but also the competitiveness he brings to the table every day.
It's kind of hard to mentally prepare for that until it actually comes because the two sports are so much different, I think. But usually it doesn't really affect us football players that much as people think it would. The biggest obstacle to overcome, I would probably say not being tired out of any sports and just making sure that I'm keeping myself on track in school, making sure my grades are up, which is a big priority for me, especially the last couple of years. Well, obviously sports takes almost all of my time. Basically every day of the week I'm in practice for at least 4 or 5 hours a day through mornings and afternoons.
I think his biggest motivation is being successful, obviously. He wants to succeed in everything he does, whether it's basketball, football, school.
Despite his focus on sports, Ethan also is a co-owner of a clothing line called True Fortune that is inspired by his style and began by an idea he and his friends had.
Usually me, Nick Smith, and Jalen, which are kind of like the owners of the company, we can meet up whenever we can in our free time and try and develop some sort of business plan or what we're going to do for the upcoming season.
Well, it started with Nick and Ethan. Came up with the idea of trying to start a clothing business just to get our clothes out, like stuff we like to wear, and then it kind of took off from there.
For the future, Ethan wants to play sports in college.
That's obviously every kid's goal growing up, if you play sports, is to play in college one day, and I think everybody can relate to that. That's just the next step in my life, and I hope that someday I can be in college without having to spend a penny and to be able to play sports that I love and to get a good degree.
Ryan Cole, CHTV Sports, Carmel, back to you.
Thanks, Ryan, and welcome back to Leader of the Pack. Transitioning from football, Ethan has been a key to the Hounds so far. And it's great to hear about one of the most diverse athletes and students here at Carmel High School.
JD, as the year continues, it seems tension is building in swimming. The guys are chasing to defend their state title, and the girls are sprinting towards a record-breaking 30 state titles in a row. I think we should pick some of the keys to defending those titles. I'll start out with Claire Adams. She's a senior leader, the number 5 recruit in the nation for girls swimming. She's a Texas signee, and she's the junior world record holder for the 100-meter backstroke with a time of 59.58 seconds.
From as much of an experience from the entire diverse athletic world as I know, because I'm really not an expert at swimming, that is a stellar time. You just don't hear about that at a high school level. That's a great time for an Olympic trial, I'd say. I mean, Claire Adams completely defines what it means to be a Carmel athlete and completely defines what it means to be in one of the best swimming programs in the country at a high school level. You don't hear about 29 state titles in a row, let alone 30. And I think this accomplishment is going to be absolutely huge. Moving forward, I'd like to talk about the girl swimmer Veronica Birchall. She competed nationally and placed third in her event in the most recent competition. But she does hold the national relay record in the 200-meter freestyle at 22.29 seconds. She's also a commit to the University of Georgia, and going into this season, she's really got a lot to prove.
And switching over to the boys now, the boys, they won the state championship last year, but they only won one event in that state championship, and that was from Troy Lee. He was part of the 200-meter medley relay team who won the state championship. He's a senior leader. He's committed. He's signed to Brown University, and they're gonna look up to him this year if they want to repeat as state champions.
Well, you hear in any sport of a senior leader, that's the importance of the team. This is the guy you can look up and say, okay, I'm going to model my career after him. And after Captain Adrian Jarding left last season, it's so great that someone's filled the void. And Troy Lee's really stepped up this season to kind of be the captain and be the role model for the younger guys in the team that are maybe made varsity as underclassmen. Specifically, I'd like to talk about Charles Vaughn. He's a junior. He transferred last year into Carmel, swam in the state-winning meet. And if you'll remember, Ethan, that was the state meet where Carmel scored 253.5 points. That is the most points in the IHSAA state competition in the last 12 years. That is an accomplishment that you just don't hear of. To win that hugely in an event that is so competitive, that is so diverse, is something that you don't hear of any other program in the country than Carmel. Really showing its strength, really showing that it is one of the best programs in the country and that it's a force to be reckoned with, both on the girls' side of the spectrum and on the boys. And I think when those two are in combination, we're going to see a great Greyhounds team. But next topic of conversation, something I want to transition over to, is a sport that I don't think gets enough recognition around the halls of Carmel High School, and that is wrestling. Wrestling's just about to start up. We're going to see some of our first meets coming back from break and a little bit thereafter. Ethan, I know you had a little information on Sam Hipple, some of the other wrestlers. Let's talk a little bit about winter wrestling.
Well, Sam Hipple is the best wrestler on this Carmel team. He went to the state championship last year. He finished in the top 4, and he's looking to really rebuild and win the state championship this year for the Carmel Greyhounds.
Sam Hipple does something that I think a lot of players do well, and that goes along with football, basketball, really any sport you can apply this to, is that he controls his body. He knows exactly how much he needs to get into that weight class. He knows exactly how to move around the ring so that he doesn't really get held down as much as you'd see an inexperienced wrestler do. And Sam Hipple is a great example of what it means to be a true athlete because he does play football.
Yep.
And somebody else that plays football that wrestles, Nick Fox, he showed his skill during football season. If you'll remember almost those WWE-style tackles where he almost lifted a guy over his shoulder and threw him down on the sideline. That sticks out so vividly in my mind to say that he is going to be even better than he was last year. He's going to finish in that top 4 for sure if he plays like Sam Hipple does going into last year's competition. And that just about does it for this episode of Leader of the Pack. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned to CHTV throughout this month for scores, games, and analysis of your favorite Greyhound sports.
Connect with us on social media with our Instagram at Carmel TV and Twitter at CHTV. Signing off for CHTV Sports, this has been Ethan Noel alongside JD Arlen.
Stay classy, Hounds, and we will see you in 3 weeks.